Okay, so now we're going to get to the Washington Wizards, who are currently projected for 32 and a half games, which would put them just out of the playoffs in the East at ninth. Scott Brooks is still the coach. They traded John Wall for Russell Westbrook, basically. They got Robin Lopez and Raul Neto. And then for draft picks, they got Cassius Winston and Yoli Childs and a whole bunch of other people that probably won't play.
You never know.
You never know, though. And it looks like their starting five would be like Westbrook, Beal, Isaac Bonga, Ryu Hachimura, and Davis Bertans.
Bertans, shooter,
shooting
expert. That guy's great, excellent shooter. But so as Lindsay alluded to, the Rockets traded Russell Westbrook after only 1 year, one weird year, for John Wall and a 2023 protected first round pick. So the idea is to pair Russell Westbrook with a coach he's had success under in Scott Brooks, right? He was the coach when they made the finals, right?
Yeah.
In Oklahoma City?
Yeah.
And he was their coach for a pretty long time after that until they got Billy Donovan. But
yeah, I think it was after.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it was after KD got traded.
Right.
I think they got rid of him. I want to say maybe Westbrook's MVP year, and then they got rid of Scott Brooks, and then brought in.
Was Brooks? Billy Donovan was the coach during Westbrook's MVP year. I'm pretty sure Brooks was already.
Okay, so it must have been the year before. Yeah, it must have once Durant left, maybe he got fired or some shit.
But pairing Russell Westbrook with Bradley Beal, who last year was able to get up 30 points per game on a losing team.
Yeah.
So that's the idea, I would imagine. And he can shoot a little bit, right?
Yeah, he can shoot. Yeah.
I know he's not like the most. He hit 40% at one point in his career, but now he's more like 35 because he was a massive volume shooter. He's taking 22 shots a game.
Yeah. I mean, shooting 35% off 20. It's pretty okay.
Is this a playoff team?
In the East, yeah. I think they could get you like a 7th seed, maybe. They definitely squeak in the 8th seed. But.
So we said mid 40s would get you in this top 3, right? For this year with the 72 wins.
Yeah.
Right? So 30. What, Lindsay? What was it? 32 wins.
They're at 32 and a half, which would put them in 9th. And I believe where the listings were, the top team they had projected as the Bucks, they were at like 49 games.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out.
Okay.
So you think it's enough to get it done from a playoff perspective?
Yeah.
Talk to me.
My logic is Westbrook brought a whole team to the 6th seed in the West off some ass talent.
But that was a long time ago.
Oh, that was like 2 or 3 years ago.
It's a lot of minutes ago. And that dude is like...
He plays the same.
But like that's my point. Because of how he plays and he's so like furious and the way he attacks the basket, I feel like his prime is going to end earlier than you think. I don't think he's just going to be able to be bouncing all over the floor forever. Like, look at a guy like, what's a good example? Westbrook's a little bit bigger than this guy, but Allen Iverson, right?
Yeah.
Similar style. Lots of attacking to the basket, a lot of like not worrying about his body. Allen Iverson's prime kind of ended out of nowhere.
The only difference between AI and Westbrook is when AI was doing that, it was in a much more aggressive and physical era where he was getting hit really hard, and he had to play with like lumps on his on his elbows and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like AI, Westbrook has like much more open lanes, because the floor is more spread out.
I always think that narrative is a little overplayed. That this league is just soft and you guys go home with no bumps and bruises. I'm sure it's not like that. Like I would imagine.
Well, I think that's what helps a lot of these players with their longevity. Like,
yeah, well, that's
like
fair.
if you look
Also
at
the technology and shit.
well, Westbrook's career has already lasted longer than Allen Iverson's. Like, I'm pretty sure like it's very close. Like AI didn't have over 10 years in his prime.
Right, but neither does Russ.
He has 11.
He's got this is his prime right here.
He went to NBA Finals in like 2012.
You're gonna call that his prime? We completely disagree.
No, but he was a top player and like he was a top 15 player at that time.
He was a boy. He was a small boy. He was 21 years old. He was putting up 16 points a game. And if you really want to go to the next year, he's only putting up 21. And he was
in 2012, which was the year that they went to the finals. He was putting up 24, 6, and 5. That's that.
I guess, but that's not 28, 10, and 10. Like I just think, I don't consider that his prime personally.
How many times? Wait, time out. How many times did he actually do that? He did that once KD left.
He did it 3 years in a row.
Yeah, when KD left.
Like 20. What does that have to do with your prime? I don't care.
No, it was because of the volume that he was able to do that. But when KD was there, he wasn't going like he had 28 one year when KD was there, and other than that, he was pretty much around 23 points a game. That's like what he was when he had another star in his team. When you let him lose,
I just don't consider this his prime because he was so young. Like a prime is when you like.
When we talk about Kobe's greatness, we say he had a 14-year span of pure dominance, and that was from that's 2000 to and he had the same shit. Look at him. Look at the stats. Look at.
I just don't.
He was a top 15 player from 2012 and on. There's no way that he wasn't.
Yeah, I'm not there. I'm not okay with that. But I just think there's a massive difference between this guy and this guy. And I think these years, once he starts leading the league in scoring and he's doing triple doubles every single year, that's his prime. Like I just think he was a good player, but I wouldn't consider this the prime of his career. That's all I'm saying.
Man, I just don't see him going from averaging 27, 7, and 8 and dropping much. Like if he's gonna drop, it's like 25, 7, and 7. Like that's what I'm looking at.
Well, okay, so we just brought up Iverson, right?
Yeah.
And this is why I brought it up. So with Allen Iverson, right? Peak is about 24, 25. So like he led the league in scoring here, right? And this is probably his last good year. He's averaging 26 points a game his last good year, right? For Denver. Yeah. Then it fell off a cliff the very next season. Now Russell Westbrook isn't 32 just yet, but it's a similar style of like constantly going to the basket, constantly oh no, I'm fucking wrong. He's going to be 32 this year. I just worry about that from the way he plays the game. I don't know what's his evolution. What do you like? You know how like Jordan's the best example when he changed his athleticism and went to a more post-up style. What do you think is the next transition for Russell Westbrook if he's going to maintain a prime or like prime past his athletic peak? Put it that way.
I don't know. He's not that great of a shooter.
That's what I'm saying.
He like a lot of like though he gets like a ton of assists, it's a lot of like cut like break like get into the basket and then dishing out. So that I just don't like. To me, that doesn't like the explosiveness. Mm-hmm. Like there's no way it just like I feel like injury is what usually like stops that shit. Like
that's fair.
Like even Kobe was explosive all the way through until his Achilles rupture. Like I just feel like you don't usually lose that. Like right, like it just doesn't like go without injury. Like injury is always what takes that away. I feel like.
Yeah.
But so like that's why I just think that he's gonna be able to do what, especially in this team, because you actually surrounded him around a good amount of shooters in this team versus like because in OKC, remember he was doing that and there was not really much shooters around him. Like he had
Right.
to, like it was really weird. Like he had to like he would dump off or like have little handoff passes so that he could get his 10 assists a game. So
Yeah.
for like Adams or something to score like an easy dunk or a layup or some shit like that. And now he's gonna actually have shooters he could pass to, and like I feel like Houston's a good example of what he did. Like to be able to average 27 a game with James Harden on your team, averaging 35, like, and still have 7 assists, like that's impressive to me. And I think he's gonna probably be able to average even more because he's gonna be like I could see him like trying to work with Beal a little bit more, and it's gonna be more of him holding the ball and Beal not really have because Beal like most of his game is more so like spot up shooting and stuff like that. Like he
Well,
wasn't really like
yeah, that's what I was going to ask you because I look at uh, I go back to a couple of years when the Wizards were last relevant in the postseason. I'm not saying great, but relevant in the postseason, right?
I literally can't even remember the last time the Wizards were in the postseason.
So the last time the Wizards made the postseason, I'm pretty sure they lost to the Boston Celtics in the second round. Because I want to see John Wall's numbers. Because I'm pretty sure he was like 18-10 that last quality year from John Wall.
Yeah.
And I think Westbrook. Okay, here 23 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists. Yeah. Is Russell Westbrook capable of that? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
100%.
More than that. Right? Way more than that.
Is Bradley Beal probably going to give you more than what he gave you during that point? So right here, he's 23 points a game. You know.
Well, and this is not for the playoffs. This is for the regular season.
Oh yeah, but you got to do the regular season to get there. You know.
Okay, yeah. I just want to make sure we weren't trying to talk about the playoffs.
No. What I'm really asking is, like, so your answer is yes, it kind of fits. You think it fits, right?
Yeah, I think the Wizards won. I think the Wizards won the trade, like, because I think they actually benefit from that, and I think Houston at the end is gonna get screwed out of that trade.
I think. Well, the Houston in general is just
I
just think it's one big work in progress right now. But
yeah,
I like the backcourt. Obviously, if Brad Beal is going to give you similar production to what he did last year, I think you'll be okay. It just needs to be a little more efficient. That's the thing with Bradley Beal. Like you said, right? Last year, Brad Beal was doing a lot of I'm controlling the ball.
Yeah.
Extremely high usage rate. I guess my question is, does that fuck with somebody? Like, do you think that's going to affect his game going into this year with now he's got another star to work with? You know what I mean?
Oh, no. So throughout most of his career, he was working with a star that held the ball often. So I think it's going to be pretty easy for him to adjust to that because it's just like to me it should have been harder for him to adjust to last year than the year. You know what I mean? So it's going to be just business as usual. You just have to deal with a different mentality and like.
That's what I'm saying. I just wonder when you're in the NBA, right? Imagine yourself in the NBA. You're entering a new season, and the previous season, no matter how many games you lost, you're looking at the stat sheet and going, I averaged 30 points per game in the NBA.
Yeah.
Did
Beal get a deal? Did Bradley Beal get a deal?
Good question.
Because that to me, that's when those things matter a little more. Is when usually you get that more from stars who haven't or younger players who haven't got a deal yet, and they just had a really good season, and now they have to take a back seat to someone, and they're like, well, I need to make my money, like shit like that, and I need to make my All-Star games, I need to make my they care about shit like that, but
he's got a bunch more money coming.
So so I don't think. To me, me looking at that situation, one thing a lot of people hate Russell Westbrook for the way he acts during the game, the way he acts after the media. But one thing all his teammates have always seemed, besides Kevin Durant, have always seemed to love about him is that he always rides for his teammates. No matter who's on his team, he's in it with them, and that's it. Like, so I think when it comes to for like a chemistry standpoint, I think Russell Westbrook will make that work because
Yeah.
and even like you see on Twitter and stuff now, like he's already like having like like fire practices with them, and he's talking good shit about Washington. Like he's never really that guy that causes the locker room issues. Like though people would like to make it seem like he does, he for the most part he's like usually good in terms of the locker room wise. It's always all the other shit like the media. The media usually portrays him in like a worse way to me.
Yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing.
Which makes sense because he is an asshole to the media. But I also think he's really good to his teammates. So like there was so many times in the playoffs they would talk about how Russ had to do everything by himself, and I always hear him say, "Don't try to separate us. Don't try to divide us." Like I remember him like saying little shit like that to like questions that they would say to have like Steven Adams say like, "Oh, Russell Westbrook's not passing the ball," some shit like that. Like he would stop the question and like say like, "Don't try to divide us." Like this is like you know what I mean. Like I don't know if you remember any of those.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I think he will make it work.
I just wonder if it's enough because I definitely don't look at anybody else besides these two gentlemen in Bradley Beal and Westbrook. And I really don't look at anybody else on the team and I'm like, oh, that's really going to do some damage come postseason time, if you want to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, they're first round out.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to make the playoffs. I just think they're going to be a first round out. Because they're going to be about, like, I had them at 7 or 8. So you're going to go against the first, second seed. You most likely lose in that round. Like, it's just, but I definitely think he's not missing the playoffs. I'd be surprised if they miss this playoffs.
The one thing that I could see this team making a move if they exceed expectations, right? Like, let's say they're sitting in the top 3, and it's like all-star time.
Yeah,
I bet you they'll try to do something. You know what I mean?
Like make a move, like towards the middle of the season or something. Try to pick up another asset or something.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they need size. The one thing that's very obvious based on this depth chart is they need size. They have Robin Lopez, but that's really the only like real relevant person of size on this team.
Yeah. So what do you see Westbrook and Beal averaging this year?
It's for wins or for personal stats?
Personal stats. And then you could also go wins too.
I really like, so if we're going back here, I see Westbrook coming very close to a stat line like this. Like maybe 25 and 10. And then the rebounds. See, the rebounds is interesting to me because there's nobody who's like a dominant rebounder on this team. So like, besides Westbrook. So I could see him.
Yeah.
The path to a triple-double is there again.
Yeah. Like I when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking he's like 25, 26 points, 9, 10 assists, and probably like I see him at least 7 rebounds. He's been like, can we go to his career? I think for the last couple of seasons, he's got 7 or more rebounds.
Oh yeah,
like at least the last 5 or 6 seasons.
Well, since 2014.
Oh yeah.
Since 2015, he's averaged 9 rebounds a game. He's 26, 9, and 9.
Yeah,
like. That's my whole thing. Is I just don't know when. I don't know at what point that falls off, and I guess we won't know until it happens. But
yeah, the thing that's a little different between Westbrook and maybe Iverson in general is like Iverson, he didn't play like the way Westbrook doesn't really play defense. You know what I mean? Like like that's the part of his game that he definitely like veers off or like
I just
plays a little bit.
Yeah, I just think that he's lackadaisical on during the regular season on defense, but I think he's capable of playing defense.
I feel like it's a facade, man. Like when you watch him play the only reason I say this is because in what I would think is his prime, which would be 2016, when I remember specifically that series against the Warriors. People, he had he was talking shit about Steph not guarding him.
Yeah.
And then he guarded Steph, and which is a difficult task in itself. And he was getting straight cooked. It was like not even close. You know what I mean? Like, and I just think I feel like was like the first part that really exposed him. Is because like when you look at his athleticism and like how fast and quick and his ferocity, it makes you like it's like an illusion that he's playing good defense. But in reality, if his guy's scoring, it doesn't mean shit. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
So
No, I get what you're
that's
saying.
yeah. Because it's
And
really
he
easy to
definitely
look at
has his
someone play.
moments.
Yeah.
But I just look at it like if he were to be in a game that really like, I just feel like in times where it's very important that he does come through. But again, like you said, Steph Curry is not an easy matchup for anybody.
Yeah.
But the one time it was really bad with that was Ricky Rubio from 2 years ago when he was in Thunder and Westbrook came out and he was like, that shit's not happening again next game.
Oh yeah.
And he got absolutely violated.
Yeah. And like Ricky Rubio is like okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Has been cuffed before, but
yeah.
32.
And Dame Lillard has lit him up a few times too. So
yeah,
like,
well, yeah, that goes without saying.
Yeah,
but 32 wins. Over or under?
I'm going over. I got them at like 36, 37.
37 would put them in the 8th seed.
We will know in 1 month.
Oh, okay. So how does this work? So we got. Okay, so
we're gonna talk about the Hawks later, right? The Hawks, their over/under projection is 36.5, and that would put them at 8th for the Eastern Conference.
Oh, okay. So and I'm forgetting that this is 70. All right, so 36 is a 50-50 because that'll be 36-36. So and that's usually around where the Eastern Conference represents. Yeah. So now that I know that, sorry.
Good.
Yeah, I'll go 37 games. I think they'll make. I got them at 7th seed.
I think, like I just said, I think we'll know within the first month whether this is actually a good like a team that can hit that over or not.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't give them a month. I think you got.
Well, they're gonna like. There's no preseason. There's no way to really practice. Like they're practicing now for the first time. Like I just think it's gonna take time for it to develop, but it just depends on how. I really want to see the connection between Westbrook and Beal on the floor. I really want to see that. I want to see what that's like. That'll determine a lot of this, but I'll say under.
Under?
Just because I could see an implosion of this. There's a world where all of this goes very shitty and leaves Westbrook and Beal in a spot where they're like fighting each other and it's, terrible in the locker room.
Yeah. The only thing about this is I really do, and especially the way Westbrook is acting after, or like his approach to this, after being traded and shit. I just think he cares about his legacy a lot, and he got traded twice in 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. And he already like. I'm sure he wants to be looked at as one of the greatest point guards of all time. Like, there's no way that he doesn't. Like, he seems like a guy that does stuff, thinks like that. So, so I just don't see him approaching this and not wanting to win. And plus, his natural reaction is just to always want to win too. Like he thinks he could do it all by himself a lot, but I think I just don't see him not trying to make it fit. If he does approach it that way, then that's gonna that'll really fuck up his legacy. If he comes here and just does that shit, and especially if they can't win over 30 games, like that, I just can't see it. Like I can't see that happening.
That's a fair point.